Hello, everybody. I'm glad to greet you on this last Sunday of October. Um, you're watching this either Saturday evening or Sunday morning. Uh, I'm Charles E. Clough, Senior Minister of Church of Truth, Center for Awakening Consciousness, where we believe that we're always discovering new things as we open up to God and open up to those who are around us who get a catch of God that can help us as they share it with us. We're right on top of an election that to most people is a very critical one. I just finished an email exchange this morning with my brother, who is a person who believes the positions that Trump takes on issues that are important to him are worth voting for him. So we go back and forth. My sister is a conservative Christian too, and their positions are different than mine. I'm liberal in their mind, and I am, because I consider people more important than beliefs, and like to open up to the things that will be good for the most. So as we come up to the election and we see all the negativity that's out there, all the bantering back and forth that's not good at all, the things that go back and forth amongst the candidates that are even running for office, and you say, whoa, how can an election reach this point? And how can civilized people who sit down and look at the issues and think about them go to the polls and put down how they feel and what they think when other people are putting down where they are, actually derailing them because they are where they are in their thinking and in their positions? So there's a lot of separation. How do we stop this separation? And I think the answer is very, very simple. The answer is in the Christian Bible and is given us from all of our gurus and special spiritual persons. And we know it too. The answer is that we find the good in the other persons, that we don't connect the other person with some of the things they think, like we don't see ourselves as being some of the things we think sometimes. As we entertain things, as we pass them through our minds and through our thoughts, some of the things that we think about, we sure wouldn't want to think we are, because they are all things that pass through that we know we're really not that way. Finding love in somebody. God's great at doing this. In fact, we believe that God only sees the good in the love in other people. When I worked at juvenile hall, it was not unusual to see parents, usually the mother, out in the main place where the parents come and sit and wait and have a chance to talk to their children. To see them there crying and feeling so badly about their child being in juvenile hall, because they see their child so different than the law does. There was a young man in juvenile hall, and he was not considered to be a good person. And one of the things he did for being there was light a cat on fire, pour gas on the cat, light it on fire, run it through a field, and just laughed and had a good time. So people thought a person who had that kind of mind couldn't have any good at all. But yet, as I watched that young person sitting in the room with his mother, I saw some love there and some caring and some embarrassment and some shame. And I also saw one time where that same young man gave some of the candy that he had gotten from his parents to one of the other kids in juvenile hall. And I thought to myself, that was a good thing. And the persons that we think are the worst of all, there's good in that person. There are people sent to prison who have done so many terrible violations of the humanity beside them and around them. There are some who they figure would never change that get into prison and they have a chance to hear some speakers and visitors, and something starts to wake up inside of them. And some of those persons become religious persons. They change and they start communicating with people outside of prison. They wind up apologizing and feeling badly about what they did. That good started to come alive, and that good is there. So from just average normal people, when we look at people around us, when we look at those who have views that are so different than ours, we need to look through those views and see the good in the persons around us. Special persons like Jesus were experts at that. Some of the worst people that were denigrated by the religious society, Jesus found to be special persons, and he spent time with them and brought out of them some really beautiful things that were there. People in government that we see doing things that we do not understand how they could do them. They've got good in them. They maybe are in a setting where that good has been lost to them for a while. But it's there. It'll show up again, because that's basically a deeper part of who they are. When we look at those around us and look for the good, even when there's bad, that's when we can begin to bridge, at least in our minds, the separation that we feel. We don't change our opinions or what we think is right or wrong. We don't let someone off the hook because we know there's good inside of them. We may still need to take some stands and do some things we know have to be done to support what we feel is right. But at the same time, we can remember that there's good in the persons that we are working against at the time. What a good thing that is, that we can see good in persons that a lot of people don't see. God looks at every person and only sees that good stuff. I remember a cereal that one of our kids used to like. And there were some things in that cereal that didn't taste as good as the sugary stuff. So they would pick out the things from the cereal that they really liked, and they put it aside in a different bowl. So that the things they didn't like so much, they didn't have to eat. The things they did like, they would be able to enjoy. The things that God doesn't like, he kind of just sets aside, doesn't pay any attention to it, and he pulls out the things that are there that he really loves and enjoys. And that's the goodness. That's the love that is still there. God looks at us. He looks at me and he looks at you and sees that good that we are, and we all are. It's such a neat thing to understand. God doesn't pay much attention, probably any attention to the things that really don't need to be there. A lot of us have raised plants or have had plants in our homes. And it's not unusual to see a plant that we are sure is dead. But we may take and pull the dry leaves off of it. And there might be a spot of green, or we want to give it one more chance. So when we've got all the stuff that's dead off, give it a little water, put it in the window where the sun will get to it. Then all of a sudden we find out there was a little bit of life in that plant. And that plant starts to grow and it starts to become. How much that is the way God looks at us. Never gets up, never gives up, never thinks anything is dead. When you see doctors and nurses working over a person that's a fraction away from dying, are they giving up? Oh my goodness, no. There's a flock of people around, all doing everything they can do to resuscitate the person, to keep the person alive. As long as there's any life, people in the medical field work like crazy to bring that person out and to know that person's going to live. My friends, as long as anybody has any good or any love of any kind, God and all the spiritual forces are all around that person, us and others, drawing out, doing everything we can to bring to life that little bit of good, that little bit of love that might be the only thing that's left at the time. But that can come alive and grow into what is really beautiful. And that person can make a tremendous contribution to the world and to the way the world can be. God has been doing that to us all along. All the spiritual forces around us, working with us to bring out our love and to bring out our good. And we've been responding to that. But even at a time where maybe we weren't responding, at a time when maybe others aren't responding, God doesn't stop working with them to draw out that love, because it's at one of those moments when we're maybe not at our best. But God's Spirit is in us and all others to take whatever good and whatever love there is in a person, no matter how small, to bring it to life and to make things better. Those we like, those we don't like, our friends, those that aren't our friends, God is working with the same way to bring good from all of us. How grand that is. And we thank God. And so it is.